So, okay. Have you ever wondered? Have you ever wondered what the fuck is going on with your neighbor upstairs? I'm calling corporate, where petty meets professional, and our regional stops calling us back.
We're the Courtnes, with 25 years of property management experience together, still wondering how half of you made it past the application process.
Yeah.
This is Melody. Have a guest. This is Melody. Hi. She's got a crazy story.
Very crazy. For our body count series.
Yes. And this is our Halloween special because it's the week of Halloween.
Yeah. But before we get started, we always ask, how did you get into property management?
Well, actually, I was in retail before I did property management.
Mm-hmm.
And I was visiting with a friend at her apartment. She was friends with the management girls that worked there. They knew that my job was kind of ending and said, you know what, you'd be great at leasing. And then sent me somebody's phone number. I called them, went in the next day for an interview, sent me for my drug screening, and I've been doing it ever since.
How many years?
I started in 2004, so we're
21 years.
Yeah, long time.
I don't even want to say how old I was in 2004. We
won't get into that yet. But so yeah, I worked my way from leasing all the way up, the top of the ranks, I guess you can say. So I have seen a lot of crazy things happen over the years. Yes. So.
Okay.
So yeah, this is our body count series, and you know what that means? We're finding bodies, y'all. We're finding bodies. Murder. Oh, viewer discretion advised.
Yes.
Like hardcore.
Yes.
Hardcore.
Yes. So how many stories do you have? You don't have to tell me.
I can give you two really good ones.
We love good ones.
The first one happened back. It's probably been about 10 years ago. Is this the one that I
This is the one that
this
Courtne
knows about.
No, should we do that one last? Is that the juicy one?
It is pretty juicy. It's like jaw-dropping juicy.
Is it juicier than your second one?
They're both pretty good.
Which one did you get the most reaction out of when you told someone?
This one. Probably this one at 40.
Let's say that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let me. Yes. So first one, and I think this one actually happened before this last one did.
Okay.
But resident, he was always a complainer. And when those you quit kind of hearing from them. You hide, but you quit hearing from them, and you're like, what's going on? Because you usually get an email once a week, once a day, whatever. Yeah. Hadn't heard from him. Kind of just thought, but he did travel some for work, and he just kind of fell off the face of the earth. Well, the courtesy officer lived below him. Oh. And yeah. And he said he could hear like his TV and stuff still and whatever. And so finally they called the office one day or somebody called and he was like, I've got something coming through my ceiling. I don't know if something's leaking upstairs or what, but I've got this something coming through my ceiling in my living room. So we're like, okay. So we go over there and knock on the door. We look. We also checked his electric meter outside. So it was spinning. That's back in the day when they turned, and not just had the little digital counter. And we opened the door and to the neighbor upstairs, right? The neighbor upstairs of the courtesy officer. Yeah. And we went in and he was sitting on his couch.
Oh, God.
And he was swollen.
Oh. Those are the worst.
And leaky. Oh. But sitting straight up, watching TV, like his arm was on the couch. Arm with the remote in his hand.
Massive heart attack or something.
Yeah, we're not sure. We're pretty sure he's like an alcoholic too. So, figured, there's just no telling, with that kind of stuff. So yeah, he, had expired, I guess you could say. Literally, spoiled.
That's what was leaking down?
Yeah, that's what was leaking down. So the like they had to rip the carpet, the subfloor, and all that to replace it, and replace the ceiling.
I would have died
There.
Yeah. Thankfully, it was a courtesy officer.
It was thank goodness it was the courtesy officer. But after that, the company I worked for at the time said no more going in and checking on things if you're unsure. Because they don't want anybody to have that trauma in their head. It's traumatizing, yes. I mean, it's just not something you forget. I mean, at all. So
did you see him?
Did see him?
Yeah, the company I worked for that I started with, that I was with for like 10 years, we would do all the work. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if they still do them or not, but up until I left, we were still doing them. Uh-huh. And yeah, it is traumatizing, but then at the same time, like, I feel like it kind of gave me like this sense of like, I can handle this, you know?
Yeah.
Do I want to?
No.
But like, I can. Like, if it ever came down to it, like, yeah, I can do it.
Sure.
Right. Because I've seen so much of it that it's like,
I mean, and
it's a part of life, unfortunately.
Yeah. And of course, you want to find them sooner rather than later.
100%.
But what's the sad part about it is, and y'all probably know this, there's a lot of people that don't have any family.
Mm-hmm. They don't. Yeah.
And they're not very social, or they don't have friends or whatever. So people aren't checking on them all the time. And until something happens, or rent doesn't get paid or something like that, you don't know. It's on auto draft.
Yeah, on auto draft.
My person that I found was on auto draft. It was like for months.
Yeah.
But no one ever thought anything of it. It was during COVID. Like,
Did we talk about that one?
Yeah, we did. Oh, I'm pretty sure we did.
Pretty
sure we did. Because that's the one where the man, supervisor at the time, had never seen anything like that.
Oh, okay.
Straight out on the balcony.
No, but we haven't talked about it here.
Pretty sure. It's a lot like, it's honestly.
Okay.
I mean, I can tell it real quick. Are you done with your story?
Yeah.
Because it's a lot like yours, but mine was during COVID. And he didn't have any family. He did. They didn't talk to him.
Yeah.
Pretty sure he was an alcoholic as well.
Sure.
Rent was on auto pay. He never called anything in. Like, he wasn't a person. So we never even thought to like think about him. He kept to himself.
Yeah.
But we got a call. This community that I was at, it had interior breezeways, and they had carpets. And people would leave the doors open. So we would get all the weather. It would get the rain. It would get ice. It would get snow. It would get everything. I'm pretty sure I talked about this, but I'll tell it again. It would get everything. And so the carpet, like, it would stink. It got mildewy. Like, it was gross.
Yeah.
And I know one time one of the neighbors in this building called and she's like, I have a weird smell. You know, I don't know what's going on. And so our maintenance tech went over there at the time, which actually happened to be my husband. And he opened up the breezeway door, and it had just finished raining. And he was like, all I smell is mildew. That has to be what she's smelling. That's all I smell.
Yeah.
So, like, fast forward to like 2 weeks later. And our pest control guy went into the apartment with guy, and they were doing their preventative maintenance and pest control and air filters. Yeah, and it had been so long at this point that, like, I don't think there was really a smell anymore.
Yeah, goes away.
So they're in there spraying, but of course it's COVID, so they have masks on anyway. And yeah, they didn't even know until the pest control guy went into the bedroom
and saw him.
And talk about that on the podcast.
Yeah, what's crazy is it was a man, but you know, when you die, like, your hair keeps growing, your nails keep growing. So like he had already kind of had long hair, but it had gotten longer. He had long fingernails, and he was in this, like, the way I think of it is like, what's that nursery rhyme that's like Jack jumped over a candlestick?
Yeah, Jack.
Have y'all seen like the little like book of it, and it's like this kid in like a nightgown, and he has on like that's what this guy like had on. Which is crazy. Yeah. So they thought it was a woman. So they kept like, they were calling, and we had walkie-talkies then. Sure. And so like my maintenance guy's like over the walkie-talkie trying to get our attention without saying like, we have a dead body.
Yeah.
And he's like, I need someone down here. It's an emergency. And we're like all busy. We've got like everyone on the phone. We're running around. It's like, I think it was like right after the 5th of the month. So we're like calling people, putting out late letters, you know, doing all this stuff, trying to get these people to pay their rent. And so we're like, we can't come right now. And finally, he's like, I need someone now. And I'm like, oh, something's going on. So it was me, the property manager at the time, and the maintenance supervisor. We went down there because he wasn't giving us any information.
Yeah.
Right.
And freaking out. And then pest control with him.
Yeah.
Pest control was with him. And we're like, oh my God, what's going on?
Yeah.
So we go down there and he's like, we have a body. And I'm like, what? And then he's like, it's this apartment. And we go up there and like, well, this is not a woman. This is not a woman. But yeah, I don't know what happened to him. I don't know if it was from alcohol because there was empty liquor bottles everywhere. But yeah, so my maintenance supervisor had never seen a dead body. He's seen a lot of things, but he'd never seen a dead body. And this guy was expired. He had unfortunately, this is really gross, but he had melted.
Yeah.
Like he didn't have eyeballs.
Yeah. Last story.
Yeah, he didn't have eyeballs anymore. Oh God. Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. So he immediately wasting it. He's running past us. He opens the sliding glass door. He's out of the balcony. He's just throwing up everywhere. Oh. And I'm like, have you never seen a dead body before? He's like, no. And I'm like, this poor guy.
It's sad, yeah.
Yeah, but we called it. We finally got a hold of his emergency contact after the police and the coroner.
Right.
All of that had gone there, and his emergency contact was his mother. And I unfortunately had to be the one to tell her, and she was just like, "Okay."
She wasn't surprised.
No, she didn't care.
Yeah,
she didn't care, and I get it. You can have strained relationship, but I don't know. I don't have children, but I feel children probably care a little bit less when their parents leave. But I feel as a mother, you always have that that's my kid.
That's my kid.
And you just didn't care. And they finally came down. They were going to clear out his apartment, but all they took was his truck, and they opened his safe and took all of his money, and they left everything else.
Of course.
Yeah.
That's all people want.
Yeah, I'm like, that's literally awful. But yeah, that was my story. That was kind of a little bit like yours.
Yeah.
I'm scared of yours, though.
I've got one.
Scared for it.
I've got one that's kind of the opposite. Well, it's not the opposite, but I was at this property, I was the assistant manager at the time, and we had this lady come in. She had toured with her mom, and I don't know if her dad was there, but she was a grown woman, in her 30s. So you could tell that she was maybe coming out of a situation obviously a marriage or something, a separation.
Like a domestic situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the girl was frail, y'all. I mean, thick, skin and bones. And she wore heavy makeup, and she had extensions in her hair. She was just very.
Maybe she was anorexic or something?
Yeah, she had definitely, I really don't know how to explain the way that she looked, but she looked like more of an accessory than a human. I can't explain it. Yeah, so you could see more of what she did to herself than what she actually looked like. Yeah, so so it was kind of a quick move in. So she moved in to a 2-bedroom apartment by herself. Her parents helped her move the whole thing. And a couple months go by, and we now this particular situation, her mom was a co-applicant, and so she was on the lease, as an applicant. And whenever you're on the lease as an applicant, you're kind of considered an occupant at that point. So she wasn't a guarantor or anything. She was considered an occupant, and she wanted it like that. So we were like, "Oh, you're not a guarantor, you're an applicant." She's like, "Yes." And we're like, "Okay, cool." So that's how they did it. Even though she wasn't staying there or living there, she was still an applicant. So, but she also had 3 kids. She had triplets. Oh, so they were in and out. Triplets. Wow. Yeah. 3 years old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So they were in and out, and so they were on the lease, but she would have visitation and things like that. And so a couple months go by, and her mom starts calling the office, and she's like, "I can't get a hold of my daughter, and it's not like her. We have scheduled calls every day, and she hasn't called me, and it's been 3 or 4 hours, and I haven't heard from her." And we were like, we don't really know what to do. And she's like, "Well, I need someone to go in there and check on her." And we were like, "I don't know if we can do that." And she's like, "I give you permission to go into the apartment and check on her." Yeah. And at that point, since she was giving us permission, we were kind of, like in that situation where like she could be in there, she could be out of town, like she, we don't really know. And so we had a maintenance tech, and one of the leasing agents volunteered to go in there. She was the one who moved her in, and so she had kind of like a relationship with her. Yeah, so she had like one of those connections with her. She's like, I'll go check on her, like, and she was on the phone with her mom, and she was more of like she was a mom as well, so she had like grown kids and stuff. She's like, I'll do it, like, no worries, like we'll check on her or whatever. And so they go into like open her apartment and stuff, and they were calling her name, and no one had answered. And so like they went into the apartment, it looked empty, like there was furniture and stuff in there, but no one was.
Like, it didn't look like anyone was living there.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, yeah, it just looked like someone could have been out of town. Sure. It was just like there was nobody home. And so they go into the bedroom, and she had like white linen sheets and white like comforter and everything like that. And they get closer to the bed, and she is laid in her bed, like asleep, like with her hands like kind of near her pillow. Mm-hmm. And there was a small drop of blood from her nose that hit the white pillow. Oh. And she looked like she was asleep.
Wow.
So the leasing agent went up to her and like nudged her, and that's whenever she found that she was cold. And it had been like hours. Like maybe it was like the night before or something, but it was within hours of her like passing away. She had started to turn blue, but she was freezing cold. She was ice cold. And so of course, at that point they found her, and they shut the door. There was a dog in there. There was a dog. I do remember the dog, but the dog was just like, kind of around. I think it wasn't in a crate or anything, but it was kind of like just, off in the other room. It wasn't trying to protect her or anything, which is, kind of weird, because some animals do.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then we had to call the police. We had to call everyone that we needed to call. And then I think we had the police then call the mom and be like, this is like what we found. Yeah. But it was within months of her moving in.
Wow.
Yeah. So we never really figured out what happened to her. I personally think that she might have overdosed.
That's what I was thinking when you said that.
Yeah. I personally think that she did it on purpose.
Sure.
Just with her situation. And, like going back to when she was like touring and things like that, someone had ended up like, figuring out that she had bruises all over her. So like it was like a domestic violence issue.
Oh, wow.
So like she was covering up like her heavy makeup and stuff. It was covering up like the bruises and everything.
It was really awful.
And our maintenance supervisor at the time had went to high school with her.
Oh.
And he had been like, that is not the person that I went to high school with. Like, she has changed so much. He didn't recognize her whenever she like came into the office to tour and stuff. And he was like, what's her name? And, I told him, and he was like, I know her. Like I did not recognize her, just like the way that she had, like evolved, I guess, as a person. Yeah. Within that relationship. But like,
it's so sad finding her, but like I feel like I'm just so like numb to it.
Yeah,
I know,
which is awful. Like I never wanted to be like that. But
well, she was at that point. She was trying to get out of that situation.
Sure,
and then just like having that as her fate was just very tragic.
She's baby.
She's got babies.
Yeah. That reminds me of another story. Actually, happened the last couple years, talking about like your kids and stuff. And I had a resident who he had not heard from his mom in a while. And he called, but he didn't have a key to the apartment. And I was trying to verify that he was. And he's like, I can't get a hold of her, whatever. And I just kind of thought about it. And I was like, you know what? I think we should call the police and do a welfare check. And he was like, nope, I'm not waiting on them. I'm not doing whatever. I finally verified who he was. And I had that feeling. Like, you have that feeling sometimes. And I had that feeling, and I said, I told him, he's young, he's probably like 19 years old. Mm-hmm. And I said, I just kind of have a feeling. I said, why don't we call the police and let's let the police go in first, and just to be on the safe side. Yeah, we'll meet them there. Mm-hmm. I was like, I'm happy to give you a key because I could verify who you are, but I just had that feeling, and I didn't want, if I was right on that feeling, I wouldn't want a kid to be able to sit down with their parent. Yeah. Well, he did not want to wait, and sure enough, he walked in, and apparently she was a really bad alcoholic, and she had, I guess, was throwing up. She was throwing up blood and stuff, so there was like blood everywhere. That's and like her esophagus. Yeah. And so of course he comes running out and screaming. I'll never get that sound of a grown 19-year-old kid out of your head, because that's how he's always going to forever remember his mom. And so but when you've been doing this for so long, it's like you just kind of know sometimes, like, can't get a hold of her. I've been doing this. Mm-hmm. We tried calling her. It's going straight to voicemail because the phone was dead. Because she had probably been gone 3 or 4 days at that point. Mm-hmm. Still not long, not long enough for it to be like too bad. Mm-hmm. And I want to say it was like in the wintertime, so it was cold, and she lived like on the back side of the building, so it wasn't. But just to find that. Yeah. And then of course you have to go through the entire cleanup process when something gets so he had to it was bad. It was really bad.
Okay, I have one more story. Go for it. But it kind of has to do with like finding people, and this guy was not expired. Mm-hmm. Oh, this guy was not expired when I found him. But okay, but you were talking about having feelings, and I had a feeling. But we had this guy who lived at my community that I worked at before I moved back to Little Rock, and he lived alone, and he was an EMT. Oh, he was an EMT. He was a really nice guy, but I feel like he had a lot of social anxiety. Yeah. So like I got really familiar with his mom because his mom was like, he would sometimes call in work orders for him. She'd bring his rent in for him sometimes. Like he was busy. Yeah, he was busy, but he also was just like, you could tell that he I don't know how he became an EMT because he's being around people. Yeah, but he didn't really like to like talk. Like he didn't want to like handle his business on his own. Like he just did not want to do that. Yeah. But anyways, so one day I'm sitting in the office and I get a call from his dad, which is weird. Yeah. Because like his dad did not even live in the state. Never really heard from him. But his dad called and was like, hi, this is so-and-so. My son lives there. I talk to him every day and I haven't heard from him in a few days. Well, I know when he originally moved in, he, his mom, moms always tell you everything. Sure. They tell you everything. So I knew that his dad didn't live here. I knew that like they all kind of had a strained relationship with him because he lives in another state. They're divorced, blah, blah, blah. So I kind of knew all of that. And I was like, well, maybe your son, like, taking a break. He doesn't want to talk to you. Right. But he was like, and I'm just really worried. He was like, I just have a bad feeling. And I'm like, okay. So I was like, well, I can go down there. I was like, let me just try to call him first. Because maybe he just doesn't want to talk to you. Yeah. I didn't say that. I'm like, I'll try and call him and see if I can get a hold of him. So I tried to call him and he didn't answer. So I called back and I was like, unfortunately, he didn't answer. It didn't go, it wasn't dead. Didn't go straight to voicemail. It rang. I was like, maybe he's at work, blah, blah, blah. I was like, have you tried to contact him at work? Mm-hmm. And he was like, no, I'll try. So he tries to call the work, and they're so like, they don't kind of tell you like if they're at work or not. They're like, I'll get them to call you back or something. Right. Because crazy things happen. Sure. We don't want to say, yeah, he's here, and then someone come up and do something to you. Are you okay, Sherry? She's coughing. Okay. Anyway, so I guess from there he tried to call. He called them. He called his ex-wife. Okay. And she tried to call him, and he wouldn't answer. And it's very unlike him to not talk to his mother. Yeah. Right. So then she calls. Ma'am, go lay down. Oh. Yeah. Oh. So then she calls, and she's like, "Hey, I can't get a hold of my son. It's not unlike him to not answer my phone call. I've called his job, and his job knows her.
Yeah.
So they told him, like, he didn't come into work today. So then she starts freaking out. She was like, I need someone to come down there. She was like, I can come, but I don't remember where she was, but she was probably like an hour.
Sure.
So she was like, I'm on my way, but I'm going to be a minute. So I was like, okay, I'll go down there. No problem. So I grabbed my maintenance guy at the time, and I was like, hey, we need to go do a wellness check. Mm-hmm. And he was like, okay, great. He grabs a key, and I started getting a bad feeling.
Sure.
I was like, you're going in first.
Yeah.
I'll come behind you, but you're going in first. So he goes to unlock the door, and this property's an older community, so it had like the chains on the door. So he unlocks the door, pushes open the chains on the door. Yeah. I'm like, someone can't do it. Yeah. So I'm like screaming out, management, hello, anyone here? Management. No one's answering. And so, like, the way this is set up is, like, from the front door, you can kind of see straight back to the bedroom if the door was open. So, like, I can see a little bit of the living room. I can see the kitchen. I can see back to the bedroom. I don't see anything.
You don't see anything.
Yeah. And, like, I can kind of see his couch, but I can't see over it. So I don't know if he's, like, laying on the couch.
Sure.
Doesn't look like it. I'm like, oh, my gosh. And I'm like, so then I start getting really freaked out. I'm like, he's here. He's here.
He's
like, I know it. He's here. Something's happening. And I'm like, we need to get in this car.
Yeah.
But I need to get in here.
Where's the car?
So my maintenance guy's over here, and he's like, he doesn't have anything on him except a screwdriver. So he's kind of just like putting his weight.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm gonna push this door open.
Yeah.
And it was not budging. It was not budging. Like he could not.
Those chains work.
Well, I'm about to tell you why.
I think I have a feeling.
Yeah, I'm about to tell you why he can't get it to me. So he's pushing and pushing and pushing, and he can't get it to budge. So then he was like, let me go get something. Sure. So I just kind of stand there for a minute, and I shut the door. I'm like,
I can't.
I'm gonna wait.
Sure, yeah.
I shut the door, and he comes back. He's got his tool bag. He pushes the door open, sets his tool bag on the ground, and he goes, "Oh," and I'm like, "What?" He was like, "Well, I found him," and I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "He's right here," and I'm like, "What do you mean he's right here?" Okay. This poor guy had bad asthma.
Oh gosh.
No, he had asthma and he was diabetic. So he apparently started taking a shower and his blood sugar dropped really low. And when he was getting out of the shower, I guess he had a table that was behind his door that he kept all of his medicine on. Mm-hmm. And he was trying to walk to get his insulin and he passed out.
In front of the door.
Oh, passed out. So at this point, he turns into Hulk. Right. And he busts that door open.
Yeah.
And ends up pushing this dude while he's opening it. The guy's still alive. Oh. He's still alive, but he's not coherent at all. Yeah. He's kind of blinking a little bit and he's completely naked. It was awful. It was so awful. And so my maintenance guy I can't remember his name, but he's calling his name. He's like, can you hear me? He's trying to keep him awake. And I'm on the phone with 911. Wow. And I'm like, I'm at this address. It's going on, blah, blah, blah. So they get there. The ambulance gets there. We get out of the way. He's doing his best to keep him awake.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. He's doing his best to keep him awake. He's unfortunately, he's kind of patting him on the face. Keep him up. And he's shaking him. And then he got a blanket and threw it over him to try and warm him up. Yeah. We were doing everything we could. Anyways, so the ambulance gets there. And there's 2 EMTs that get out. And one of the EMTs starts walking out and he stops. And I was like, it's right here. And he looks at his partner. He's like, can you go in first? And I was like, oh, do y'all work together? He said, no, that's my cousin. And I'm like, oh my God. Yeah. So he was it freaked him out. Yeah. It freaked him out. So anyways, and then I don't think they do it here. They do here. I don't know if they do or not, but y'all have MEMS here, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. So this was in Memphis, the EMTs lives with the fire department. So the fire truck always comes. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So the ambulance got there first and then the fire truck. So then even more of them come out. And he's his cousin would not. He wouldn't go in at first. He wouldn't go in at first. The fire department gets there. They get him. They wrap him up. They get him up on a gurney. And then his cousin goes in. He's grabbing his medicine. He grabs his house keys. He's grabbing everything he can for this guy. Yeah. And they take him, he takes him back in the ambulance. He starts being the one trying to do the life-saving procedures or whatever. But I think he just needed a minute. I felt so bad for him. But yeah, so I was like, well, his mom's on on her way here. And he was like, I'll call her. She can meet us at the hospital, blah, 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 blah. So I kept up with it for like the next few days. I kept calling and like checking in, but he ended up passing away in the hospital.
Oh, man.
They just, I guess it had been too long and they just couldn't get him back like he needed to be.
He was probably on life support.
Yeah, it was awful though. And I was like, I wish we had gotten there
sooner.
Yeah.
No, you always have those what if.
Yeah, I think that's the one that like really like hurt my feelings for a while, because I was like, if we had just gone a little bit sooner, like, I mean, it wasn't that long that his dad called.
Sure.
So it's not like if I had gone exactly when his dad called, maybe, because it really wasn't that long.
Yeah.
But I was like, dang, I wish someone had reached out and we could have went over there.
Yeah.
But, yeah, and it messed my maintenance guy up too, because he'd been in the industry forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever, and he had seen so much, but he will still bring that up. If I talk to him, he'll still bring it up every now and then.
Yeah.
It's like, that one really hurt my feelings.
It hurts.
Yeah.
It hurts when you,
Yeah.
Man.
But anyways, I'm ready for your story.
Now, this is it. Okay.
The moment we've been waiting for.
The moment.
Yes.
And I will say I like to embellish, but I don't have to embellish much on this story.
No. This is a story all in itself.
Yes.
I'm excited and nervous.
Yeah. So
I'm nervous.
Well, there's some very interesting things about it.
There's so many moving parts.
There's so many moving parts. So, we had this resident. She was probably in her, I'm going to say mid to late 40s, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And she was a bartender, and she worked at several different restaurants, picking up shifts or doing whatever. That's all she did. And she set up an auto draft, and rent got paid, but then it bounced. So we, you get that letter and you just kind of send it. You try to, reach out and say, hey, you haven't paid, your rent bounce, blah, blah, blah. Can't get a hold of her. Put the notice on her door, but then we go, like, maintenance goes by a day or two later, like, the note's still there, but we think her car's here. We're pretty sure it's her car unless she got another car. So then we were like, okay, so we went over and knocked on the door. No answer, no response. Took the key over there. Key didn't work. So we were like, okay, maybe she changed the locks on us, because some people do that and you don't know until you absolutely have to be in there. So then I was like, well, let me reach out to her emergency contact. Maybe something happened, and she's out of town. Like, you never know. So we call her emergency contact, and they were like, well, I think it was her aunt, maybe. She's like, well, that's my niece, and, we're having a strange relationship. I'm not even sure why I'm her emergency contact or anything. And I was like, okay. And I was like, well, do you have any way, like, her mom or a sibling or something, like, get in touch with her somehow? Like, because the last thing I want to do is kick the door in on an apartment if she really is there and trying to figure it out. So we give it like another day or two, just kind of, sitting there, and, we're calling, we're going back and forth. I'm like, what can we do? Do we kick the door in? Do we call a welfare check? And so finally, it comes to like this on a Friday, and it's the end of the month at this point. This is Memorial Day weekend.
Oh, Lord.
On a Friday, and I'm calling her, I even tried to call the police to do a welfare check, and they're like, you're the property manager, like, you can't, we need a family member to call. I don't know why that's just like so weird, but they want a family member to call. Shouldn't matter, but they were
the ones with them every day.
Correct.
With them.
Yeah. And so they're like, well, it really needs to come from a family member. And so, and I'm like, they're like, have you tried her work? And I was like, well, I've tried all the places she's listed on her application. I did get a hold of somebody, but they said that she hasn't worked there in like 2 years, but so-and-so knows her. We're just trying to get in touch with, like, did she get a new phone number, whatever, because it was a generic voicemail. Then it finally just started being like, no ringtone, nothing. So, end of the month, I'm wanting to say this was like Memorial Day weekend's the last weekend in May, I guess it is. So it's that Friday, and I called her in again, and I was like, we really got to figure this out. Like, I need to know, like, I need to get in touch so I got to figure something out. So goes into Saturday, and my maintenance guy calls me, who I've worked with forever at this point. And he never calls. Even like in some emergencies, he doesn't call. And he called, and he was like, so the police are here at the property, and we don't have a key. And I was like, okay, what do they want you to do? And they said, well, they really don't want to kick the door in. They don't want to damage the property. Do I have your permission to drill the lockout? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I guess so. I mean, I'd rather just drill the lockout, get in there and see. I mean, for all we know,
we can replace the lock.
We can replace a lock. It's hard to replace a door jam and all that kind of stuff insecure in an apartment, especially on a weekend. I mean, it takes too much time, whatever. So, I guess a neighbor came downstairs at that point when all this was going on and was like, well, I'm going to go. They live on the back side of the building. It was a first floor apartment. So there was just like a little railing and they jumped over. So they go up to,
I feel like don't do that, but okay.
Yeah. I mean, like, no. And they were like, whatever. They're like, I'm just going to knock on the back door, on the back patio door. And they said they walked up to the patio door. And this is all about the same time the maintenance guy's drilling out the lock, right?
Oh, God. So scared.
So they go up to the patio door and they're like, she's got all this they thought she had like a mesh screen, like to cover the doors.
Oh, God, I know what you're saying.
Yeah. And they went to knock at the door, which is creepy.
The
patio screen door. And all these flies went. I'm talking thousands and thousands and thousands of flies.
The way I would have just went home. Walk down. I can't do this today.
Yeah. I mean, and so about that same time, my maintenance guy is drilling out the lock with the police standing right there. And the
flies are about to.
second he drilled out the lock, the stench from just this little bitty tiny hole just about knocked him flat on his ass. And everybody, so they get the door open. I mean, even the police officers were gagging and just like, because the smell was so horrible. So think of it, it's May. She'd probably been there. We don't even know at this point, like how long she had been there.
It had been at least 2 weeks.
It had been at least 2 weeks, if not longer, because, like I said, her rent was on auto draft.
And then
it bounced. So, I mean, she could have even been dead in April, for all we knew.
That is a very well insulated apartment.
Very well. First floor, backside. It was not in the sun. Yeah, I'm not going to tell you where that's at. On the backside, so there was not a lot of, like, sunlight, so it didn't get hot, really, really hot. And I think at that point, so the maintenance guy drills the lockout. Like I said, it's like tiny. I mean, not very big, but enough to where the smell was so intense that it knocked him on the ground. And the police officers were gagging, like, I mean, and I'm sure they've probably smelled it before, but it was like a lot. So anyway, the neighbor, I don't even know. I think the flies made the neighbor sick. Everybody was just standing out there, but they were like out in the parking lot. And so the police go in, they put gloves on, they have to put masks on. My maintenance guy stands outside, doesn't do much. And they go in there and they find her like half laying on the bed, half not on the bed, liquefying. Basically, kind of like I said in my first story. Yeah. They were like, she was like liquefied or fying, like to the point where she was melted, basically. And they look over and she had a cat. A cat. Well, the cat had also expired.
Oh my God.
But the cat was really hungry. Because she had passed away.
Yeah.
And that's the kitty cat.
So the cat started eating on her.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
I know. That's why they saved this one for the Halloween special.
Oh, my God.
The cat had started eating. So the cat, I guess, just went over and it was like on a pillow or something. Anyway, I don't think they ever determined how long she had been there.
Yeah, you probably can't at this point.
You can't.
It doesn't exist.
Yeah. So at that point, like I said, it's Memorial Day weekend, and you've got to get people in there to start cleaning up. Because it's a biohazard. Yeah. I mean, there's liquefied body everywhere.
And getting people to come out.
So we talked to our contractor person that did kind of remediation. They reached out to a company somewhere in Tennessee. They charged $500 an hour. At this point, my company did not care because it was so bad.
Yeah.
So we had to board up the door and everything so people wouldn't try to go in there and see everything. And they got into town on that Sunday, and they worked from Sunday to that Monday, and they had to remove everything, the mattress, the carpet, all that kind of stuff. But the kicker is, or one of the kickers is, when I had to meet with them on that Monday, which was actual Memorial Day, he was like, well, we found some stuff. And I was like, what do you mean?
What?
We found some stuff. We're just kind of so part of their thing that they do is they go in and they clean the ducts, the air ducts. Well, in this apartment, they're on the wall, on this part of the wall and not in the ceiling. Okay. And they were going through, it was weird.
Just upper,
the upper corners or whatever. And they found Kroger and Walmart sacks full of cash. Just
how much cash?
It was several $1,000s. But they were ones. And so I know she wasn't a stripper, so it wasn't stripper money. But we think just being a bartender or something, she just pocketed her cash and then hid it.
Why?
We don't know.
She probably didn't have a bank, or she did have a bank.
She had a bank account, but I guess maybe unreported or something.
Oh yeah,
for tax purposes.
We don't want to pay taxes.
Don't know. But he just brought us Walmart and Kroger sacks, just tied up. Just I mean, they looked full.
What is this?
Yeah, it was full. I mean, there was ones, fives, 10s and 20s. 20 was the most, but it's just kind of maybe at night before she left work, she just threw it in a sack and then brought it home, and then just was afraid somebody was going to steal her money, or knew that she had, maybe she and coworkers came over and hang out afterwards and didn't want them to know something, and just shoved them in her vents. And so that's what I'm thinking. So then we had so much money, and that's back before you required people to have renter's insurance or had bonds and stuff like that to do everything. And so we had to contact the attorney, and her aunt, of course, wanted the stuff in her apartment, which a lot of the stuff wasn't the estranged aunt.
The one who's I don't even talk to her.
I don't talk to her. We're not, she wants everything in her apartment, even the money, everything. And the attorney was absolutely not. He's you can go get that money. He was go get a money order for it and post it to her account for the past rent and damages.
Mm-hmm.
So luckily we were able to recoup some of it, but it was just sad that, I mean, literally it was a month or so, meaning no one ever cared.
Yeah.
Even, I mean, I think, friends of hers might have reached out. That's what I was thinking, coworkers didn't even. But I guess she was but I guess maybe she was just, so off the whatever, it just didn't surprise a coworker. She didn't show back up because she worked at multiple places as a bartender. I mean, Chili's, Applebee's, this, that, and other. So I just don't know if she wasn't there all the time or just picked up odds and ends shifts. So it was okay, she is working somewhere else now or something.
She wasn't reliable.
She wasn't as reliable, but she was never late on her rent. Not one time. And she had lived there for probably...
Ideal resident.
Yeah. Probably 10 or 12 years at that point.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever... Well, you said you didn't know what happened to her.
We did. I mean, they said... I mean, it was kind of too far gone, but probably just natural causes or something.
How old was she?
She was probably in her mid to late 40s. But I mean, young, but... Yeah. I mean, I guess anything could happen to somebody. Yeah. I mean, But she was like I said, halfway on the bed, halfway off the bed. So
it's the cash.
So it's it's the cash.
You need a cash for me.
Yeah, the cash.
It's just everything.
The cash, the cat, everything.
Now, let's move forward. Okay, the apartment is now vacant.
Yes.
Okay, and now you have to turn the apartment. So tell us about that experience.
Oh my gosh. So yes, we had to. She'd been there so long and everything. I mean, it was an old apartment. We had to rip out the carpet, the floors, even 4 feet up. Kind of like when you have a flood in an apartment and it gets wet and they make you do 4 feet up the wall, replace. We had to do all of that. like I said, new cabinets, new countertops, new flooring, appliances, because you cannot get, like with appliances, like there's so many intricate, the stench, you cannot get it out, especially like a refrigerator.
Oh yeah, they hold everything.
Yeah, even though her like lights were never turned off, or there was no stagnant air or anything like that, like you just have to replace it all, and that cost upwards of $25,000 probably by the time it was all said and done.
Right.
Because you might as well just go ahead and rehab it and do everything.
I had to do a hoarder unit. Okay.
Yeah.
And now we have an upgraded apartment.
Yeah. And luckily in Arkansas, you don't have to disclose if anyone's died in the apartment, even though that is a question in most property management softwares for a unit. But we could not rent this apartment. Yeah. I don't, yeah. I mean, especially natural causes, but some people are really weird about stuff. And then I'm sure, and you'll probably have people talk about it, the crazy residents you have that think people are in their apartment or their spirits in their apartment or something like that. Cameras. Yeah. So it took forever. I mean, and we ended up having to like, I don't know what it was. So I don't know if neighbors were coming out and saying stuff to people. Probably. It was just, I don't know. Just going to say after that it was like a cursed apartment. Like, even if you don't disclose it to somebody, it's almost kind of like either people have a feeling or just know. And so finally we had to like drop the rent on this beautiful, renovated, brand new apartment on the ground floor, private patio. Yes, it had like a retaining wall behind it, but it was still nice and private and first floor, entry level.
Never.
And then finally, after probably about 8 months, last time we rented it. So we lost all that money on vacancy loss, and
you've already just spent all the money to
and all the So I just
So did the new residents ever say
no? And then I left that property not long after that and went to another property within our company, but don't know whatever happened.
Well, did you know? I know some people are like sensitive.
Absolutely.
I know a person that leased that apartment.
What?
No, not the resident. The leasing.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I was like, hold on, what?
Yeah, I know the person that leased that apartment, and she said they literally said nothing about. They said nothing about anything about that apartment. Like they never had any issues.
So if the neighbors were saying something, maybe they just stopped,
or it could have been the vibe. Or it could have been the vibe.
It could have been the vibe. Yeah, because they say some people are sensitive to stuff like that.
Yeah. So
I don't want to say that I'm sensitive, but I will say I felt vibes. Place is haunted.
There's something about this place. Yeah, absolutely.
This place is haunted.
Yeah. And so that's a kind of following up on my story. That obviously that apartment had, been vacant, or they had to vacate that apartment. And that apartment we couldn't get rented. And so during the turn process, and I thought they were just pranking me because that's what our motto was. Like that's just how we did. But the maintenance technician that was turning the apartment, he said that he went in there to paint. He was a painter. He went in there to paint, came out, and then went back in, and all of the cabinet doors were open. Every single cabinet door was open. And he said, he was kind of freaked out. And I was like, you are lying.
It didn't happen.
You're joking with me.
Yeah. And you can't, with him, you couldn't tell if he was lying or telling the truth. He was a good, bluffer. He had a good poker face, And I'm like, you are lying. I don't believe you. I do not believe you. And he was like, I swear, I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. And so it took a long time to get that rented. Well, the person that rented the apartment, after the girl had passed away, she ended up becoming the leasing agent for the apartment community that we worked at. So this was not related whatsoever. But there was a position that came available, and literally she applied for it, and they hired her. Yeah. And so before she even knew the background, she said that apartment was haunted because she had a baby in that apartment. And she said that every so often she would, the baby would start playing with someone else. And I'm getting getting chills. Like cause like, so, like the baby would like talk and stuff. He obviously didn't have any words or whatever, but like he would talk and like blab or whatever. And the baby would like, like play with them.
Like, you could tell when the baby's like looking and talking with somebody.
Yeah. And so she just lived with them. She just lived with her spirit, and she was okay with it.
Yeah.
And
some people are. Yeah. And I guess if it's a nice spirit, then it's cool.
And well, we told her they told her the story afterwards, because I had stopped working there. So they had told her the story afterwards, and she was like, she was like, well, it checks out. Like if she's a mom, like she's
caring for the child,
caring for the baby, and so she would sit there and they had some recordings, like they had some like a couple of like recordings in that apartment and stuff. Yeah,
I couldn't do that. Yeah. Like, you can be there, live your life, I'm gonna live my life, but like I don't want to hear you or see you.
No, and after they moved out, because they ended up moving out of state, it took us probably about 9 months to rent that apartment again.
Well, I mean, I guess it can happen, because I mean, when Julian was on here telling his story about what we had our thing,
the mother,
the mother. Well, we found the mom. But yeah, they were in there before we even realized that this lady's ashes were in there, and like, it just feels like someone's watching me.
Yeah.
He was like, it feels like there's someone here, and there's no one here, but it just feels like someone is watching us.
Yeah.
And then it was probably like a couple of days later
that they found the mother.
They finally got to that point, and they found the ashes of the mom.
That's crazy.
In the apartment, but like they didn't know. Yeah. But I don't know. Julian's kind of spooky sometimes, so I was like. Well, you just knew that she died.
Yeah, that's all you knew.
Yeah. And, I mean, I swear, but whenever I would go show it, like there would be some type of like just eerie, cold feeling.
Draft feeling. Yeah.
It would be. And I couldn't go in there. Like I would have to show it, but someone would be with me. Like I'm showing with someone, so like I wouldn't be alone, but I would never go in that apartment by myself. Like
I've had some resident, this doesn't have to do with bodies, it just has to do with hauntings. It's a spooky episode, so but I thought it's kind of funny, but when I first got my like roving leasing agent job back forever ago, I was at this property, and this resident called in, and I thought it was a prank. I did. I was like, they're hazing me.
Sure.
Like I'm at this property. It's like I just started working over here. They're hazing me. But no, it was a real resident, and she called and she told me that her apartment was haunted. And I was like, well, why do you think that?
Yeah.
Like, she was like, I've seen the ghost. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, you've seen the ghost? Like, I'm just, because at this point, I still think it's a prank.
Yeah.
So I'm like playing into it.
Like, okay.
Yeah. And then,
what did it look like?
Yeah. And so she's like, yeah, and I can hear it and all this stuff. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, then I'm like, well, what do you want me to do?
Yeah.
Like, what do you want me to do? Yeah. And she was like, I want to transfer. And I was like, well, let me get with my boss.
Yeah.
I can't approve.
Sure.
Like, that's what I said. Anyway, so I like go and tell her, and she's like, what? And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I think you guys are messing with me. Like, I think that this is a real resident.
Yeah.
You guys are, and she was like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And I'm like, okay. So like a couple of days go by, and she calls back. And then I was like, okay. So I started like researching her in the system.
Yeah.
No, this is a real resident.
Looking at all of her activity now.
I'm like, this is a real resident. Well, anyways, at this point, she's like crying on the phone, like sobbing. And I'm like, you okay? Like, what's going on? She tells me that when she was walking out of her apartment, the ghost pushed her down the stairs. And I'm like, what? And she was like, yes. She was like, I just tumbled all the way down the stairs. It was only a 2-story building.
Yeah.
But it's like concrete stairs. And I'm like,
oh,
are you okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
And she was like, oh, I'm fine. I'm like, you tumbled down concrete stairs from the 2nd floor of a building.
And your neck's not broken.
And your body fine. And I was like, so, I'm sorry, explain to me again what happened. And she was like, the ghost. Remember, I told you my apartment is haunted. It pushed me down the stairs. And I was like, oh, okay. And so I'm like, let me talk to my manager.
Yeah.
At this point, I'm like,
I don't know what to do.
Yeah, at this point, I'm not dealing with this. And I'm just a leasing agent, okay? Like, just a little leasing agent. Someone else can handle this for now. So, and also, I just kind of think that they didn't believe me.
Yeah,
sure.
When I told them, like, this is the conversation I just had.
Yeah.
So, yeah, she talked to her, and I don't remember what ever came of it, but she, like, walked back to where I was, and she was like, what happened? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I'll let you talk to her. But apparently a ghost pushed her down the stairs. Like,
yeah.
Anyway, she ended up moving out, and then I went over there because I was like, I just want to see if I feel any of the vibes. Like, or whatever. She like would not talk about this ghost. So we ended up just being like, look, you can't transfer, but if you want to move,
yeah,
bye. Yeah. Because we're not putting you in another apartment. You claim that
one's
also
So we let her out of release. She left. Anyways, yeah. So I went over there and I didn't really feel any vibes. And then we had someone move into it. So I was like, this lady was 100% lying. Where she
maybe the ghost followed her. Yeah. You know, some people are attracted to
the spirit.
Yeah, the spirit went with her.
Yeah.
Or she's like, I hate this here and I'm going to think of a way to get out of it.
Or she's off her medication.
Maybe
we see that all the time too.
Yeah, Lord.
But piggyback off of that, talking about spirits and stuff, I had someone who came in, very nice. They were a foreign couple, and they've lived there for like ever. Always so nice, all this kind of stuff. They had put up like a Ring doorbell and all this kind of stuff, but they kept coming in and saying something about they felt a spirit there or something. They were very I don't want to say spiritual, but just kind of like intuitive about things or whatever. Okay. But they had talked about like wanting to buy a house and do all this other stuff. So I was like, okay. Well, then they said that one night they were eating dinner and all of a sudden his wife's head popped back like this and she started speaking in tongues.
Oh my God.
I don't hear this.
And I'm like, what? And then they had like a Ring doorbell and they said that you could see like this ghost or spirit like go by. No. And you could see something, but I'm like, is it them like banning something? Anyway, they just like packed up overnight and left. And they were always ones that paid their rent early. They were right on time or something like that. So it just kind of made me wonder. And like we asked neighbors around, like, you know, hey, did you see them like pack up or leave, or was there anything odd that happened or whatever? And they were like, you know, sometimes we like hear like yelling or screaming towards like the end, so we didn't know if they were like fighting or something like that. But it kind of almost makes me think like
they were trying to do an exorcism,
like an exorcism, or like she was literally possessed.
Yeah. Well, you know, things like that. Like if that's what it is, apparently that follows you. It's not even saying that.
Did you see the video? Did you ever see the video?
I did, and it just I couldn't tell like if it was like somebody like fanning something by, but you could like see something. It was enough to make a recording because, you know, it has to be
it has to be
motion. Yeah. So I'm like, did they like get something and just kind of like fan it out to make it look like that, and then I don't know. Like,
in property management, you always think like you're lying.
Yeah, because
unfortunately, but like
9 times out of 10 they are lying.
Yeah, and that's automatically what you assume.
Yeah, but then you don't want to like dismiss somebody or make it feel. But then you're just gonna go, are you crazy?
Yeah,
be taking your medication.
It's a little bizarre.
Yeah, it's weird. So.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, like, you know, how many times like you watch the movies with exorcisms, and you do all of these things, and like, but how many times have like you actually seen it or heard it happening, like that you've witnessed, you know?
Oh yeah.
So it would be hard to believe for sure.
Creepy.
Well,
I don't know what I would do.
I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of that. Yeah, I would probably pack up in the middle of the night as well.
Yeah.
100%.
Weird. It was crazy. Like I said, they were model residents. Wow. Yeah. Never had any issues. Never. I mean, he called in maintenance requests all the time. Here she comes. Maintenance requests all the time, but it wasn't like anything like crazy or outlandish or anything. And then all of a sudden this happened.
Okay. Yeah. Well, Sherry has joined us again.
Come on.
But I think that that's a good conclusion.
I need more.
Well, my battery is on 7%.
That's crazy though.
Yeah.
The cash and the cat eating.
The cash and the cat.
Cash and the cat.
I mean, I have more stories, but those are like my best ones. So
yeah. Well, we definitely will.
Could not imagine finding out that a cat was eating
the person. Yeah.
I mean, I know it happens, but
it happens way more than you probably know. That's just like a detail that probably gets left out.
Yeah, because no one wants to know that. Well, they also don't want to know that an animal died either.
Absolutely. I mean, nobody wants to say like.
Okay, I have to tell the story before we end. Like when I was a kid, This just tells you how much I love animals. But when I was a kid, my neighbor, we had this older man that lived across the street from us, and he had this beautiful white dog. It was so fluffy, and he put it in like shows, like it's so cute. Like you never saw they looked like each other. Like he was like an old man with white hair. She was like a white dog, so cute. Well, anyways, in the middle of the night when we were all sleeping, he lived right across the street from me. His house caught on fire. It was an electrical fire. Yeah, an electrical fire. And I guess he had tried to get out. But he couldn't get out, and he ended up dying of like smoke inhalation.
Sure. Oh goodness!
By the time the fire department got there, so when I woke up the next morning, because I'm like, I'm probably like 9 years old at the time. Yeah. So when I wake up the next morning, I walk outside to his house completely burned up.
Yeah, I had no idea what happened.
And what's crazy is like my dad had like he got woken up. Our other neighbors got woken up. They were all out there,
right?
But they're not going to wake up the kids. No. They're like, hey, come look at this, you know. So anyway, so he tells me the next morning that he had passed away. That his house caught on fire. He told me the whole thing. He was fully transparent with me, except for the dog. Yeah. So I was like, well, where's his dog? And they were like, oh, his daughter came and got it. And I'm like, oh, okay. He was like, yeah, his daughter came and got it. It's going to be fine. So he lied to me.
Sure.
Liar! But I'm just like, okay, when I tell you, I have to tell you how many years it took for me to like think about it and ask again.
Yeah.
I was probably like 16 or 17.
Yeah.
And I was just randomly thinking about him because this point the house has been built back. Another family lives there. And I was like, I was just thinking about him. I was like, I wonder if the dog's still alive.
Yeah.
And my dad's like, oh, I forgot I never actually told you the truth. And I'm like, what?
Parent lies.
He was like, the dog died that night. He died from smoke inhalation. And I'm like, why wouldn't you tell me that? Yeah. And so I'm like, it's been all these years, and I'm like bawling my eyes. Yeah. At 16, like, the dog died. Yeah. Anyways, it was so traumatic, and so like I won't even watch movies if animals die. I'll turn it off.
Same. No,
I'll turn it off.
I would. I hate to say this, I'd rather watch a human.
Yes, same. Humans can die.
Cool. But I would so much rather see that than an animal.
Same. Anyway, well, thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Yes. Well, we appreciate you coming in.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
We're definitely going to have you back.
I've got lots of stories. In my 20something years, I've got lots of stories.
Well, next month is all things crime.
Cuffing season. And
I'll start thinking.
And we're going to have December is going to be Jingle Bills, so evictions.
Ooh.
Yeah, so we're going to have all the fun stories about evictions.
Okay.
Well, awesome.
I've got some good ones.
Well, you know what to do. Like and subscribe. Bye.
Bye.